I grew up in New England. My parents decided I was going to go to a technical school, Wright Tech, in Stamford, Connecticut, and got a degree in drafting. But it was 1966, and the world was changing fast, especially for teenagers. And I grew up in a small town, and I knew I had to get away. So I applied to one school, and I got accepted to Berry College, and I was going to be a biologist. And one of the requirements was to take an art course, art history, and then a studio course. I took basic design. It was three-dimensional design, and it just blew me away, knocked me over. I just fell in love with the world of art. And while I was doing that, I was learning about artists and in art history. And the professor wisely, he would show us art history, before the birth of Christ kind of art. But then at the end of the class, he'd show us a modern artist. And he showed us one, Jackson Pollock, the splash painter. And I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe an adult male would do that kind of art. And I was almost frightened and taken by it, and became an art major, and changed my life. In college, Robin Voigt was the sculpture teacher and the design teacher, and same way he encouraged me to pursue my own ideas, my own way, and I never was good at rendering. Drawing was always hard. I'm left-handed, dyslexic, but expressive, I guess. And he and Jack Willis, the painting teacher, encouraged me to be tactile and to paint and to sculpt and to create with an expressive attention. I gravitated right away to sculpture, and my paintings, I would cut the canvas and bend them and put things in the back of them, and it was pretty obvious I wanted to be three-dimensional. There's no single way I work. I mean, I always carry a drawing book with me, and I'm always sketching. And as I start to work, new ideas come. I know the answer's there, and I know it's going to come. Sometimes I start with a box, or an old rusty tool, or an interesting piece of wood, or even a boring piece of wood. And it challenges me to say something in it. And then I start to play, and I start to work, and I start to push and shove. Sometimes I throw them away, sometimes I burn them. But more than not, I guess they start to make sense to me. And sometimes it takes a long time, and it's a struggle. I get to a certain point where I love the piece when I start, and then I start to lose love for it and start realizing it's a conflict, and there's a problem, and the stone and I struggle and we fight, and then at some point I go, okay, all right, yeah, now I get it. Now I understand why we were struggling, because that was wrong, or I did this too much, or not enough, and then usually by the end of the piece I'm satisfied. I listen to the stone. Sometimes we disagree, sometimes we agree right away, and sometimes it's a fight for hours or days. But I like the resistance. I'm working on a piece called Fury. That's the stone piece. I'm trying to contain some forces in that stone. People want to touch it. I always say touch. Go ahead and touch it. I know I'm the artist. You can touch it, because I want people to feel what I felt when I did it. That tactile nature. I'm always accused of my hand rubs against the picket fence as I walk down the street. I love the feeling of concrete on a wall, and my hands read as much as my eyes do. So I need to be involved in the piece. I like reusing. There was a church down here that burned to the ground. All their limestone I own. I bought the entire truckload of it. And I like the fact that it was once in this church, that it was part of something else. And now I'm going to reuse it. I'm going to refurbish it and make it come alive in a different way. That pleases me. The same thing with junk, old pieces of tools, the heads of old hammers. Nothing's nicer than a nice, clean screwdriver, but an old bent screwdriver tells you a story about history, and I find those much more interesting. If I have a message, the message is I'm a singular person, like we all are, with a singular, with a variety of interests, and I fuse that singularity and that diversity into sculpture. Degas said, "Don't talk to me about inspiration. Talk to me about hard work." Something that inspires me is that it's difficult what I do, both to do and to come up with ideas, and then to have it finished, and then to have to put it someplace. I want to work until I die. I want to continue to make art. I have too many ideas. I have too many passions, too many needs that aren't fulfilled except in the world of art. When I'm here, I'm in a magical world. I exist in a completely different sphere, and I love being here. I did a piece downtown once, and it was I did it on site, and people would come by on a Sunday afternoon when it was raining, and they'd say, "Why are you working? You shouldn't have to work on a Sunday. That's not fair." And I'd say, "This isn't work. This is sculpture. This is what I do, and I love doing it." And I don't know what else I would do. I mean, I'd go fishing more maybe, but I can't imagine doing anything else. I believe in you doing it. You can talk about it, and I tell that to my students all the time. My students used to come up to me and say, "I'm going to do this. I'm going." I said, "Don't talk to me about it. Do it." Because doing it makes a difference. You can talk about anything, but the doing of it makes it so. Being a teacher is like being an actor, and I was good at it because I loved to be in front of people. I want to show you something. Well, that's what an artist does. This is me, manipulated by the material and by myself. This is a part of me that you could never see, you could never know. For me, a good piece absorbs me during the process of creation, the months that I'm doing it. I'm laying in bed at night going, "I should have taken that inch off. I shouldn't have taken that inch off." And that's when I know I'm on a piece. When I'd rather be here than anywhere else. When I skip some function so I can be here to finish the piece. That's when I know I'm on to something. Yeah, it functions well. It's not pretty. And then someone once recently told me that you don't make your spaces pretty on purpose, because you don't want it to become, "Wow, what a beautiful studio you have." Mine is a mishmash. It always changes. I'm always moving tools around. If that were closer, it'd be easier for me to get to. And then I start using it, and then I leave it. And I'm picking it up later, and I'm thinking, "What the heck did I keep this so close? I never use it anymore." Functional. If you ever ask, "What's your favorite quote?" It's from Gandhi. And he says, "No matter what you do in your life, it's going to be insignificant, but you must do it. But you must do it." And once I heard that, it gave me reason to be an artist, reason to stay an artist. You're not going to be famous, you're not going to be rich, you're not going to be powerful, you're not going to have dominion over something, but you must do it.